So I phoned David Weir. I said, David, I think I've just been sacked. He said, so have I. I said, why? And as I looked over at the screen, it said, David Weir also leaves his role and resigns his position from Rangers Football Club. And David and I going, what is going on here? Ian, there's only one story, and I've got no shame. I love Rangers to bits. I haven't been back to Ibrox. I'd love to go back. So I'm never going to send any disrespect to the club. Love the club to bits and supporters. So nothing I say will ever be disrespectful to the club. But at an earlier board meeting, I think in August, I was told that the targets would be that in year 3, we had to make European football. It was non-negotiable. When I joined the club, that term non-negotiable being used, that promotion to the Premier League was non-negotiable. Fine. And I thought to myself, if we can't get out of Championship as Rangers, then okay, I deserve to get sacked. No problem. I had no issue taking it under those conditions. So here we are in this board meeting, and sentiment is really high. We've signed Joey. We got Nico Crancho, though Nico was well overweight, but we knew the effect he'd have on the squad. The likes of Clint Hill coming in, all 3 transfers, by the way, no money, but all 3, and on minimal, very, very low wages, but good influence, good professionals. And they said to me, in year 3, we have to have European football. Okay, fine. And I said to Davey and Frank, I said again, if we can't get European football next year, then we deserve to lose our jobs. So that was it. For year 2, it was develop the squad, keep developing the playing style, which I think is fair to say, and we got a lot of praise for the way we played football, and we were attack-minded. We had those 2 results, as you say. And suddenly, we had a board meeting, and it became, the tone changed. It was manufactured, it was set up, it was completely choreographed. The questions came bang, 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 bang in an order. And it was literally, I'm thinking, the year we were second in the table. We were second at the time in the table. And year 3, we've got to make Europe. So here we are in year 2, and we're second. But the problem was Celtic had the best year in their history. So this was the issue, Ian. If Celtic had been 8 or 9 points ahead, no problem. Celtic were 18 points ahead, 15 or 18 points ahead. And that now, to any Rangers fan, and the board, of course, are diehard Rangers fans, the fact is it was the gap between us that was causing the big issue. But again, there's Dembele on, it's not fanciful numbers, but when they got players on 20, 25, 30, 35,000 pound a week, and we've got players on 2, 3, 5. I remember, I digress, a journalist saying to me, how could I justify paying Nico Cranchard 25 grand a week? Ian, Nico and I laughed our socks off. Nico was on a fraction. He was on a fraction of 25 grand a week. Nowhere near a quarter of that. But that was a journalist, and the fans immediately thought, they read the record of what it was, and he's on 25 a week. Absolute nonsense. But I knew that we could get nowhere near Celtic, but we were still second. They had their stellar season, and it turned out to be the best year in Celtic's history. Again, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's still the best year they've ever had. So that was it, and the tone changed. And then we were preparing for a cup game. And again, I apologize. You've asked me the question, so I'll answer it, Ian. It was a Friday night. I was on my flat in the West End, and it was 8:55. And my phone went with an email saying, and it came from Stuart Robertson, saying, Mark, please check your email. Now, I hadn't been able to get hold of Stuart. I got on great with Stuart. But I hadn't been able to get hold of him on the phone or email for like 7 or 10 days, which is really strange. So I said, check your email. Friday night, I was preparing for the game, and I'm watching Sky Sports. And on the ticker tape, it came up, and suddenly my phone starts jumping. Mark Warburton resigns from his role as manager of Rangers. And Ian, I kid you not, imagine you're lying back on the sofa on a Friday night on your own in the flat, and you see that come across the yellow ticker tape. On my life, I'll take it to anyone who says otherwise. And I'm thinking, what? My phone's now jumping. So I phoned David Weir. I said, David, I think I've just been sacked. He said, so have I. I said, why? And as I looked over at the screen, it said, David Weir also leaves his role and resigns his position from Rangers Football Club. And David and I going, what is going on here? Of course, our client phoned Stuart. The email says, we accept your resignation. There is no resignation. I'm never resigned. I'm preparing for the game tomorrow. So this was exactly how it happened, Ian. So we're sitting there, Davey and I are going, well, Davey lived a mile away. Frank, my partner, lived 3/4 of a mile away down Byers Road. I'm by the Botanical Gardens. I'm going, what's going on here? So I walk around and going, what? Of course, my phone is now going nuts. I've got my wife saying, why didn't you tell me you'd resigned? I didn't know. So all this is going on, and it sounds like a comedy sketch. I promise you, Ian, it's exactly how it went. So I'm trying to get hold of anyone at the club. Not a chance. The only people who are still there now, the security guys, Robin and David, outstanding people. There were so many outstanding people at the club. They were outstanding. And I'm like, what do I do here? I have no idea what goes on. I haven't resigned. Of course, I phoned the LMA lawyer. Jump forward. Everyone says, why didn't you sue the club? If we do that, one, you get bogged down. I won't be working, so I'll be involved in a legal case. Scottish law and English law allows that Scottish lawyers can come into English courts, but English lawyers can't go to Scottish courts, so I'd have to get Scottish. All of this. The sheriff, Lindsay, who's now sadly recently passed, but a great friend and really helpful to me, David Weir's big friend. He was sort of helping, saying to us, this is nonsensical, but you can't bog yourself down in a legal case. So the fact I didn't sue them, everyone thought immediately that I had resigned, I was guilty. Not a chance, Ian, not a chance. And I remember death threats. I remember I travelled home to my wife, bearing in mind I have to go back up again and tidy the apartment and pick up stuff from the training ground. And I couldn't speak to my wife for the 6.5, 7 hours to get home in the car because I was getting abused. The person I told you about, I know, had released my number. So I was getting battered with calls. Battered, either Rangers or Celtic, you can imagine the type of calls you get. But my phone immediately filled up. I learned that you have 249 text messages because he got to 249, my box was filled. And you go, delete everything. And it was literally going, fill again. That's what it was. It was the most bizarre period of my life. And I drove all the way to London. Now I stop at the Westbourne shops or Westmoreland shops on the M6. And I had no change. I needed a phone box for years. And I had to borrow 20 pence from someone. I'll get some change to phone the wife and say, I can't get on my phone. I can't get on because it's just literally filling up with thousands of calls. So that was it, Ian. We went back, and what made it worse was about 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from the new owners of Nottingham Forest, Mr. Marinakis, said, would I meet with Mr. Marinakis? He'd like to offer me the job or speak to me. It's Nottingham Forest, European champions. I've just left Rangers. I'm not ready to be out of work and rest. I'm not ready to, have a prolonged period of 6 months on the sidelines. So who wouldn't speak to Nottingham Forest? Of course, they put two and two together, made 5 and said, well, that's why I left Rangers. Ian, we had no idea. It was a shocking way to treat us. It was totally wrong. It was totally inappropriate. We were second in the table. And to this day, you can probably hear in my voice how much that has. I'd rather have been 5th, 6th, getting battered, being sad, no problem, fully justified. To act in that way, and I've often said on radio, and so, if they could show me one phone call, if they could show me one email, obviously show me a letter, I'd love to see the letter. I've never, ever resigned or given any inclination to that respect. And therefore, when this happened, you can imagine how surreal it felt because it's Rangers. Rangers are all about acting with dignity and respect and professionalism. And this was the first time, Ian, that I saw this and went, no, this is wrong. This is so, so wrong. And I wanted, and of course, the fans who believed, as you said, there's two sides to a story. So the fans who believed the other side, I can imagine their disgust at me, their hatred, and why would he walk out on Rangers, and who would walk out on Rangers in their right mind? Who would walk out on Rangers? I say to everyone, down south there's an ignorance about how big those two clubs are. I always say, until you go there, no one in their right mind. You'd walk up the M6 all the way to get to Rangers to be a named manager of that club. Yeah. So it still galls me, as you can see, I'm getting angry even speaking to you because you would never do that, and I would never act like that to any club. So that particular club, that particular individual dealt so badly, so inappropriately with that. But I think we're good friends. I've got so many good friends up there. and they know what happened. And hopefully the genuine fans know what happened. I've got to be honest, every time I met Rangers fans, even I went to see Bruce Springsteen last Saturday at Wembley, and there was a load of Rangers fans, and they were fantastic. They were fantastic, Ian. So I've had some really nice compliments from Rangers fans, really nice statements from them, but that still irks more than you can possibly imagine.